Hi, this is PD at BurgZerg Arcade at BurgZergArcade.com, and today's tutorial 111. So let's go ahead and open up Unity. We're starting to get to the point where we're going to be doing combat, and mobs are going to, be killed, and they're going to be dropping either a corpse or something like that. For me, when a mob dies, I'm going to drop a chest. And we're going to want to be able to open this chest and interact with it and take its contents and start putting it into our inventory. So I thought for starters, we'd start working on some of the mouse events that we're going to be using for interacting with 3D objects in the game. So as you can see here, I've just dropped a chest in. This one here comes from Fro Games, and it does come with two animations on it, an open and close. And it's broken up into two parts. There's the top part and the bottom part. So if you're constructing your chest in game, here's how the one I'm using looks. Alright, so let's go ahead and make a new script. We'll, of course, make it C#. And I'm going to call this, I guess, just chest. And then I'll open this up in Mono Development. And change the name. I'm going to head back into Unity and drag that right onto our chest. The parent object in the chest. There we go. So it's attached. I'm going to save it. I'll make a prefab after for it. So I'll head back into Mono Develop, and I'm going to create a few functions for the mouse events. And I am going to make them public. So the first one will be public void on mouse enter, if I recall correctly. And I'll throw a debug log statement in there just so I know that it's working. And I'll just say enter. And I'll just cut and paste the whole thing. There should be an on mouse exit. We'll change the debug log. I believe the next one we'll want is on mouse down. Actually, I don't even care if they're pressing the mouse down on this item. All I care about is when the mouse comes up. And we'll say up. Okay, so we did on mouse enter, on mouse exit, and on mouse up. Let's go back into Unity, see if there's any errors. None, so let's start it up. Let me get rid of the GUI as we're not going to be working with that yet. Alright, so we have our chests, and if we move our mouse over it or try to click on it, nothing happens. And that's because all of the on-mouse events require that you're either interacting with a GUI element or something with a collider. And since this is an actual 3D game object, we're going to need a collider for it. So we'll just go up to physics, not particles, physics. And I'm just going to add a box collider. And it usually centers it on the item. Mine didn't, so I'm just going to move it up a bit. Now it doesn't have to encompass the whole thing, but the majority of it anyway. So there we go. I'm just going to put that back on the ground, or at least close to it. Let's start it back up. Now when I move over it, you'll see I get an enter event. When I move off of it, I get an exit event. And if I were to click on it, when I let go of the mouse, I get an up event. Great. Now these three events, I want to trigger basically some sort of visual effect when I mouse over it. So maybe it glows or like something to tell me that this thing is interactable. And of course when I mouse off of it, I want it to return back to something that just looks like it's in the scene. And on the mouse up event, I actually want something to happen. In this case, I want the chest to open up and a little window to pop up to display all the contents that are inside for me. Now we haven't actually got into the inventory part yet, but we can still get the part where we open it up and close it and set up the functions that are going to be used for for displaying all the stuff that's in it. So on mouse enter, on mouse exit, I'm going to take a quick look, see if I can find some cool shader that maybe actually makes it glow. Maybe a free one on the wiki or something like that. If not, I'll just play around with maybe its material color. But let's do the on mouse event first. Now I'm going to make another, we'll make this one private. I'm going to call it open, as in opening the chest. And I'm going to create another one, and I forgot the return type, which is void. And I'll create one more, which of course will be private, void, close. Now we're going to want to keep track of what state the chest is in, and right now it really only has 3 states. It's either open, it's closed, or it's somewhere in the process of being open and closed. So we'll just create a quick enumeration for that. And I'll make it public for now. And we'll make it enum, and I'll just call it state. So we have open, close, and I'll just say in between. Now we'll want to create a reference for it, so public state, and I'll just call mine state. And in my start function, I'll assign a value of it being closed. So all of our chests, that they're probably going to want to start closed. So state equals chest state dot close. And then I'm going to come down to my mouse up event, and I'm going to check for that state. So when they basically click on it, you're going to check, see if it's opened, we're going to call the closed function. If it's closed, we're going to call the open function. If it's in the in-between state, we're not going to call anything. We'll demonstrate that in a bit. Let's get the open and close part right. So if state is equal to chest state dot close, I want to call open. And then we'll just say else. We'll call close. And then in my open event is where I'm going to put the things that I want to happen while it's opening. For instance, you could play a sound file here of a chest creaking open. Since we do have animations, we'll play the animation. And, well, eventually we're going to have a little window pop up for the inventory of stuff that's in it as well. So let's start off with the animation. We're just going to use animation.play. There should be no other animation playing on this chest right now. And the animation you want to play is the one for opening the chest. And likewise for close, except we want to play the close animation. Now after it's done, I want it to switch what the state variable equals. So we're going to say state is equal to chest state dot close. I'm sorry, open. To show that the state of this chest is open. And likewise with the close function, we'll want to say that the state is now equal to chest state dot close. Now let's go take a look at this in game, and we'll see the basic flaw with it. So we'll start it up. Oh, I've got an error, and it says it cannot convert it to a bool. And that's because you need a double equals. You're doing a comparison, not an assignment. So that took care of that. We'll start it up. And sure enough, when I mouse over it, I still get my events. Now when I click on it, we got it open. We click, it closes. But the problem is if you start clicking it a lot, you get this basically we don't want this. We don't want them to be able to click it as fast as possible. So we want to add some sort of delay. So when it's closed, when they click it, they got to wait till the animation finishes before they can click it again. And likewise when it's closed. Now we can take care of that with coroutines. So let's head back into MonoDevelop. And it looks like we're at about 10 minutes in this video, so I'm going to call this one done and we'll continue on in the next one. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates and favorite the ones that you like the most. And also don't forget to rate this one. Well, I guess YouTube now has the thumbs up or thumbs down. But anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.